This is what you call a victory cigar.
What's your victory?
What are you celebrating?
What you celebrating?
I'm celebrating all the times I've come on this great show and been 100% correct. And nothing's changed.
What specifically are you correct about that you're celebrating right now?
I said they should have alternated starts for this particular reason. When you don't alternate starts, now if you give the other young quarterback a chance to start, it looks like you're giving up on the one that's currently playing. Secondly, I said the most egregious draft pick in the entire 2025 draft was Dillon Gabriel. There's no way, if you have any idea what you're looking at, that you could have a third-round grade on Dillon Gabriel. And think about this now. They traded out of the number 2 slot, right? And added and accumulated a lot of draft capital. So you can make an argument they could have gotten back in the first round and select Jackson Dart. You can also say if they didn't want to trade back into the first round, they had, the first and fourth pick of the second? Tyler Shook went to the Saints with, the 7th or 8th pick of the second.
The Cleveland Browns are spiraling. That a 27-20 loss to the New York Jets, a game they should have won, has turned the city of Cleveland from frustrated to flat-out furious. Fans are tired. The locker room is quiet. And now, the loudest voice in the NFL media space is calling them out. Shaun King, former NFL quarterback turned analyst, sat back on his show this week with a chain around his neck and a cigar in his hand, a victory cigar, he called it, and he didn't mince words. He looked straight into the camera and said what most of Cleveland has been whispering for weeks. It's time for Shedeur Sanders to start. Right now. That's not speculation. That's not clickbait. That's Shaun King on record, saying the Browns have become, quote, the laughingstock of the National Football League. And honestly, he's not wrong. After that loss to the Jets, Cleveland's season feels like a sinking ship. Dillon Gabriel, the rookie quarterback the Browns drafted in the 3rd round, looked overwhelmed once again, missing throws, struggling with pocket awareness, and refusing to test defenses deep. King said it best. If you've watched the tape, the defenses don't even respect him downfield anymore. Because they don't. Teams are stacking the box, daring Gabriel to make them pay. And he's not. But the bigger question here isn't just about Dillon Gabriel. It's about how the Browns got here in the first place. King reminded everyone, the Browns traded out of the number 2 pick in the draft. They passed on elite quarterback talent. They collected picks. And somehow, they walked away with Gabriel, while guys like Jackson Dart and Tyler Shaw went elsewhere and already looked sharper in limited snaps. Shaun King didn't hold back. He called Gabriel's pick the most egregious selection of the 2025 NFL Draft. And when you watch how this team plays, it's hard to argue with that. The Browns' offense is lifeless. Their identity is non-existent. They change play callers mid-season, switching to Tommy Rees, and nothing really changes. Outside of one decent drive, the unit still looks confused, disconnected, and frankly, uninspired. You can feel it from the sidelines. You can feel it from the players. There's no juice, no leadership, no spark. And that's why Shaun King and a growing number of voices say it's time to hand the keys to Shedeur Sanders. Because Shedeur isn't just another rookie, he's been built for this moment since childhood, groomed by Deion Sanders himself, trained under the bright lights of Colorado, and made to handle pressure that would crush most young QBs. King even said it directly, you don't draft Shedeur Sanders to sit him forever. And he's right. Shedeur has that calm in the pocket, that unteachable poise. The game slows down for him, even in chaos. His connection with receivers like Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman during camp? Real chemistry. The kind of connection Cleveland hasn't seen in years. So what are they waiting for? Because right now, the Browns don't just need a quarterback, they need a heartbeat. You can lose games in the NFL, but you can't lose faith. And right now, Cleveland looks like a team that doesn't believe in its own reflection. And maybe that's the hardest truth of all. Shaun King says the front office, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, is afraid to admit they were wrong. He said, at some point, you've got to look in the mirror and say, I blew it. But instead, they keep doubling down. They're trying to save face by giving Gabriel endless chances. They're calling for patience, saying he just needs more reps, more rhythm, more time. But the fans see it. The players see it. The league sees it. This isn't development, it's denial. What's worse for a franchise? A bad quarterback or a front office too proud to admit their mistake? Let me know in the comments, because Cleveland might be teaching the whole league a painful lesson in ego.
But I was 100% being honest that Dylan Gabriel's never been better than Shedeur Sanders. Ever. Not at any level. And you guys know I'm not even the biggest Shedeur Sanders supporter. Now, I'm not one of these prime sexuals or stands but I'm saying if you know what you're looking at, Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's not better than Shedeur Sanders, dog.
I like that.
But as an organization, because you took him in the third round, to then give up on it before, it just compounds the error even more.
So, Shaun, up to you. Shedeur starting this week. Like, you're over the experiment. Let's just turn the page. Like, is that what you're saying? It's time?
You know, sometimes in life, man, you got to be willing to be like, I was wrong. You know, let me learn from that and let me move forward and try and do the right thing. And I think that's where Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are really struggling.
And that line blew up across social media. NFL Twitter, YouTube, sports radio, everyone ran with it. Because it's not just an opinion. It's a fact that hits a nerve. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie with the pedigree and precision, sits on the bench while the Browns keep forcing a plan that clearly isn't working. How many times have we seen this movie before in Cleveland? The carousel of quarterbacks, false starts, bad evaluations, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, and now Dylan Gabriel, the latest chapter in what might be the most cursed quarterback history in football. And Shaun King said it best. You could make a 34-30 just on how the Browns have handled quarterbacks the last 5 years. They don't need another playbook, they need an intervention. You can feel the frustration bubbling over. The hosts on the panel even joked that Cleveland shouldn't be allowed to evaluate another quarterback ever again. That's how bad it's gotten. And they're not wrong. The offensive line's falling apart. David Njoku's struggling to separate. Malachi Corley, their gadget receiver, is the only spark, running jet sweeps just to create life. Jerry Jeudy finally had his best game of the year against the Jets, but even that wasn't enough. When you combine that with poor play calling and a rookie QB who won't push the ball downfield, you get exactly what we saw. Another wasted Sunday, another embarrassing loss. Cleveland fans deserve better. And more importantly, Shedeur Sanders deserves his shot. He's been patient, professional, but everyone around him can see it. The team needs the jolt only he can bring. He's not just an arm. He's a mindset. Because when Shedeur walks into a locker room, the energy shifts. Players straighten up. Receivers believe they'll be found. And defenses know, if he's in, the Browns are a different team. If you're the Browns GM right now, do you keep riding with Dylan Gabriel just to justify your draft pick? Or do you admit you were wrong and give the city what it's begging for, Shedeur Sanders under center? Drop your take below. The hardest thing in football isn't throwing a touchdown, it's admitting when you made the wrong call. And that's exactly where this franchise stands today. Because as Shaun King said, sometimes in life, you just have to say, I was wrong, and move forward. But will Cleveland do it? Or will they ride pride into another wasted season, another locker room collapse, another round of memes about what could have been? Shaun King wasn't done. After torching the Browns front office for their quarterback carousel, he turned his attention to the elephant in the room, Deshaun Watson. King leaned forward, looked right into the camera, and said, that entire Deshaun Watson era? It poisoned this team's ability to trust quarterbacks again. And he's right. Ever since that blockbuster trade, Cleveland's been paying the price. Financially, emotionally, and reputationally. They gave up 3 first-round picks, handed out $230 million fully guaranteed, and got mediocrity in return. Watson's injuries, inconsistency, and off-field distractions left a mark that hasn't healed. And instead of hitting reset the right way, Cleveland doubled down, first with Watson, then with another safe pick in Dylan Gabriel. Shaun King called it organizational trauma. He said, they're scared to believe again. They're scared to take a chance on greatness. That's why Shedeur's sitting. And that line, that single quote, hit every Browns fan right in the heart. Because it's true. This franchise doesn't just need new players, it needs a new mindset. You can't rebuild belief with fear. You rebuild it with boldness. That's what makes the Shedeur Sanders debate so electric. He's not the safe pick. He's not the system guy. He's a statement, a swagger upgrade, a leadership reboot, a belief reset. He's the type of player that walks into chaos and turns it into clarity. You saw it at Colorado. The moment he stepped in, he changed the energy. That team didn't win every game, but they believed every single week. That's what Cleveland needs right now. And Shaun King knows it. He said, if Shedeur starts this Sunday, that locker room walks different on Monday. You can feel that. You can picture that. The cameras rolling into the Browns facility, the crowd roaring at home, and number 14 jogging out with calm confidence, visor down, wristband tight, walking into the biggest opportunity of his life. And the thing is, he's ready. He's been preparing like a starter since week 1, running scout team drills like they were playoff snaps. Staying late, working with Judy, staying after to throw with Amari Rodgers and Njoku. That's not backup energy. That's quarterback one energy. King's co-hosts tried to play devil's advocate, saying maybe it's too early, maybe the line can't protect him, maybe the system's not ready for a change. King fired back instantly. You don't wait for the perfect situation. You make it perfect by believing in your guy. And that's the heart of it. The Browns have spent so many years reacting to problems instead of creating solutions. They wait until the media turns, until fans revolt, until it's too late. Shaun King's message is simple: don't wait until it's too late. Because if Shedeur doesn't start soon, this season's going to collapse under its own confusion. The locker room's already split, veterans whispering about leadership, younger guys frustrated by missed reads, and the defense getting gassed because they're on the field too long. It's all adding up. And in that kind of tension, you either evolve or explode. Leadership isn't about age or draft position. It's about who the team believes in when the stadium goes silent. So whether you agree with Shaun King or not, one thing's undeniable: the Browns are at a crossroads. Play it safe, stay in neutral, and sink deeper into mediocrity. Or take the risk. Take the chance. Hand the ball to Shedeur Sanders and give this city something to believe in again. Because in the NFL, greatness doesn't wait for permission. It demands its moment. And for Shedeur Sanders, that moment might be right now. If you believe it's time for Shedeur Sanders to start for the Browns, hit that like button, drop a comment with #StartShedeur, and subscribe for more gridiron insights. Because this story is only just beginning.